Hey guys, I wanted to show you a few things on Canvas that I think you might find helpful as you try to navigate through this. Specifically, this might be helpful for parents. Hopefully, parents, you've seen an email I've sent several times that talks about creating an observer account. I am a parent too, and I know how helpful it can be so that I can know how to navigate what my kids are navigating as they get used to this Canvas thing. I will say first, as we get started, don't forget that this always happens at the beginning of the year. We're just seeing it in a different way. Think about it for a second as kids get adjusted to the start of the school year, and each kind of teacher has their own protocols within the class, and the kids always adapt and they're able to make things work in each teacher's class. Things are going to be the same way in Canvas. So each teacher might do things just a little bit differently, but at the end of the day, we're going to communicate that with kids and we're going to do our best to communicate that with parents so that everybody can be successful. And as our superintendent has said over and over again, this year is all about grace, flexibility, and patience. So please be patient with us, and I know we will be patient with your kiddos as well as we try to give them the very best learning experience possible. So I'm going to show you guys a couple things. I'm just going to click on my chamber singers here. This is just an example of the tiles you might see. For me as a teacher, I'm going to need to push a little button right here that says student view. And when I click student view, it's going to show up a lot closer to what a parent's going to see. So it's always going to take you to a home screen. For me, my home screen, I put a lot of work into it. I think it looks pretty cool. And you'll notice it's got the title of the page. You can see there's a to-do date here because each week it's going to pop up on my kid's screen as the first thing that they need to do. Also, look over here to the right-hand side. There's some wonderful things that you should be able to get, like avail yourselves to, if you will, because this is all kinds of information that you need to know. So if a teacher has put an assignment on, it's going to have a to-do date. Sometimes that's going to be an announcement, if you notice right here. Sometimes it's going to be a page, and sometimes it's going to be an assignment. Once you've completed those and you've looked at them, you can push the little X, and then they will go away. So if it's just a page that you need to visit and you've done that, you can also click from here. If I was to click this, you would see it takes me to week 2 at a glance. This is another thing that a lot of our teachers are doing to provide some kind of instructions for what each week's going to do, because sometimes that module view can be a little bit confusing if a kid doesn't know what they're doing. So a couple other things right here. If you can view the course stream, this can be a helpful thing. It always gives you the announcements kind of top right there, and then any discussions you have that are coming up. You can view course notifications over here, of course, and you can actually toggle these on and off. For example, when I first set up my son to be on an observer account, I had that toggled on for him, and I was getting a text message every time there was something added. I'd rather not do that. So I set mine up instead to not enable notifications, and instead I know to go in myself and double check that each and every day. So that's kind of a tip for you as well. Let's get back to that home screen, and then I want to show you my favorite trick for navigating through Canvas, okay? Along this left-hand side, obviously the kids are gonna have a courses bar, but they're also gonna have this button called calendar. Calendar view is amazing. If you hop into calendar view, you're going to see a list of everything for all of their classes, okay? So with that calendar view on, over here you'll notice I'm just a test student, so I don't have everything it takes, but right here, your student will have a list of multiple calendars that they have access to. So you can toggle on, like I just toggled off Chamber Singers, and I don't see the assignments anymore, but if I was to toggle those on and off, I would see each and every one of the assignments for all my classes. Now, I find this to be pretty confusing, looking at this particular calendar view because there's so much going on. But in the right-hand corner, this is the game changer for me. If I click on Agenda View, once I click on Agenda View and I switch it back to last week because I haven't updated this week's grades yet, you'll notice a list pops up with everything that's coming up this week. So it'll take anything it'll use today, it'll default, and then everything will be here for the coming week. But if you want to look back, you can actually go week by week and see how a kid has gotten things done. When something's completed, now obviously I'm in here as a student view, so I don't complete the student work. You'll see a line go through it, and that will tell you that it's completed. Also, if we go back to our dashboard, oh, of course, I can't get to that dashboard from my student view, but you'll be able to because you'll be able to see the different classes that your student has. If I click on modules, here too, and I hope you're not getting overwhelmed, I'm trying to show you multiple ways to do the same thing. Find the way that works best for you. And obviously, I've got my week 2, week 3 module, but this is what I want you to see. If you look along this right-hand side, if your student hasn't completed it, it's going to have this little red circle of death, okay? That means that needs to get completed. That means that that's late work. Okay. Now I can't show this here because again, I haven't completed any work in my student view, but if that is done and it's something that's completed, it'll be a check mark. Okay. So this is like the overdue. And as I hover over that, you even see this assignment is overdue. The other thing that I should really encourage you to do, if you notice right here, there's like a quiz at this bottom, right? You see this quiz? I've been noticing a lot of kids will go, oh, that's what's assigned. Okay, I'm just going to go take that quiz. But it's set up that you need to read and go through all of these steps before. In fact, in my class, this was 1 week of work right here. And then there was an assignment. And then this is the second week. And then there's a review built in here and then a quiz. So some kids, if they get a bad score, typically means that they haven't done the pre-reading. So you might just check with your kids, hey, I know you got a bad score in that quiz. Did you do the pre-reading that came along with it? And more than likely, even though they've been told that that's what's wrong if they're struggling. Speaking of grades, if you click on the grade tab right here, which should be available to you, you're going to see a list of everything. Notice the status, okay? So this status tells you if it's missing or not. You notice my external tools don't show up a little bit differently. Those are the Sight Reading Factory. But those are the things that are missing that should have been done and should have been turned in already. You'll also see a score out of how many. Notice if it's out of 0, that was an optional activity. The other ones will give you the score. And if I had completed these things, I would have a score right here. So that's another way you can know. I believe it shows up, now don't hold me to this, but I believe it shows up as like a little kind of piece of paper if it's turned in but it's not graded yet. So that's why you'll know if you see like a little piece of paper, like with a pencil on it, I think something like that, it's telling you that it's turned in, but not quite graded by the teacher because sometimes it might take us a bit. You can see your average score on assignments, discussions, quizzes, tests to really know where it is in class that you're missing these things. And finally, remember, we are still using the SIS gradebook as our primary gradebook for giving grades for example, like for your grade card. However, Canvas is probably going to be the most accurate from a week-to-week basis. At least for my class, the way I'm working it is when we complete week 2, I grade it that weekend, and then the following week, at the end of week 3, grade week 2's grades go into SIS. So if you're holding out for SIS to tell you stuff about grades, you're literally going to be almost 2 weeks behind for knowing what your student is missing. That's why Canvas has become really, really important. Okay, so that's some information. I hope that you like it. I'm sorry that that's was a pretty long little video here, but hopefully you found it helpful, and hopefully we can do what it takes to help your child be successful this year. If you have any questions, the kids do have a spot where they can put some questions and answers. There's a whole module dedicated to that. Or feel free to email if you're like really, really concerned about grades. We have been sending out, at least in the choir program, we've been sending out a weekly email. And actually, every time that there's a missing assignment, I'm sending out a reminder to kids as well. So check those notifications in Canvas, which you can see on the inbox on this left-hand side as well. All right, guys, wishing you well. Let's make it a great week. All right, bye-bye.